Control number 2.
Yes.
Right. And this is one for which we even have a catchphrase that we might get printed on a t-shirt at some point.
I guess it's going to be backups.
That's correct. Thank you to Milan for coining that term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was Trappy, actually.
It was Trappy.
Yeah, it was Trappy.
Apologies.
Credit where credit's due.
So, backups, right? We all know what they are. I think what we really wanted to touch on today regarding backups is...
Don't put them on a NAS drive.
Well, yes, that's the obvious one. But more about understanding the fact that, yes, backups are most likely to prevent you having to pay a ransom, right? If you get ransomware and you have good backups in place, then it's highly likely you're not going to end up paying that ransom because you can recover. You can get your business back on track. Yes, your data might end up on the dark web.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right?
That's right. They already have the data. So what guarantee do you have that it's not going to be posted? And after Medibank let the data be released, the bar's been set pretty high for the sensitivity of the data that could be posted, right?
It has.
Medibank let it happen.
We're seeing breaches happen, though, where data is being published, and there's probably more backlash about it being released than the Medibank data because Medibank came out and said it was going to happen.
True.
It's the organisations that don't say anything or don't know they've been breached. The data then drops, and the journalists are continually trolling the big ransomware group leak sites. So it's a hard one. And we get so many questions of should we pay the ransom, and we need to do a whole new cyber about should we pay the ransom. And look, we don't advocate paying the ransom. So it's a discussion for another day. But
It is.
those backups are absolutely key. And all right, how often should we be taking backups?
Yeah, so in terms of implementation of backups, right, you should have a tiered system. So you should have short-term, medium-term, long-term backups. Backups that are essentially taken perhaps every hour would be ideal.
Yeah,
right?
through shadow copy or something similar.
Maybe for 24 hours worth or 48 hours worth. Medium-term, maybe a week.
Yeah.
And then long-term, maybe a month or more, up to a year.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you're running a virtual environment, it should be a full copy of the virtual disk, right? It shouldn't just be the files. You should put a copy of the virtual disk somewhere completely separated away from your virtual environment. So if something does happen, you've got a clean copy somewhere that's completely offline. It's not accessible through a domain. The credentials are stored somewhere securely, which I know we'll touch on a little bit later, secure storage of credentials. But copying the full virtual hard disk is absolutely pivotal, right?
That's right.
But also having a copy of the virtual hard drive or the virtual hard disk as a gold image. So if you've set up the network and you've got it sitting there, you say, yeah, fantastic, my network's set up, I've got my web servers, I've got my database servers, I've got everything I need. Take a copy of those before you do anything.
Yep.
Put them away somewhere secure.
Put them somewhere segregated, right?
Yeah.
And don't leave credentials for that segregated area lying around either.
I've seen it far too many times.
Seen it before.
And look, we're speaking from experience, and people might be watching this and saying, oh, wait, does that actually happen? Yes.
All the time.
Threat actors go searching for backups. So we say backups, but we mean secure backups.
That's right.
Backups.
And look, as much as backups will prevent you most of the time from having to pay a ransom, they're not going to stop you from being ransomwared in the first place,
No,
right?
not at all.
Your data's still going to be stolen. You're still going to have a threat actor within your network with access to everything you own, potentially performing some kind of business interruption or disruption to your network. So it's really a control for recovery. It's not a control for prevention.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I can't stress enough to have them segregated. Don't put them on a NAS that is sitting on the same network segment. We are seeing far too many organisations that are being hit that they're going to the NAS drive and finding out the NAS has either been wiped or it's also encrypted. Backups need to have a good strategy in terms of timing and where they go. So
100%.
won't stop you from being attacked, but in the likelihood you need to go back to them, make sure they're secure and test them.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the important part. Don't just
Make sure they work.
Don't just run them and hope they're running.
Yep.
Test them. If you're running a Veeam backup solution, log into Veeam on a regular basis or one of the many offline backup solutions. Log in, check, make sure it's actually working and functioning properly.
Agreed. So that's backups.
That is backups in a nutshell.